In this short EventSentry training video, we're going to look at how we can use the Authentication Manager to assign custom user credentials to groups or computers and use those when we're performing any sort of remote update actions, such as checking the status of the agent, restarting, deploying, and so forth. So here we have a number of groups, and when we perform any sort of action against the remote host, EventSentry is going to authenticate on the currently logged on user, of course. So if I do a check status here, again, then EventSentry will connect with the user account I'm currently logged on as. But if you have, for example, multiple workgroups, or you have multiple domains, or you have computers that are just not part of the domain, as would automatically be a workgroup, then you can create custom credentials and assign those and use those to authenticate in case the user you're logged in as does not have permission. You can find the Authentication Manager in the Tools section, and when you click it, you can see all the available credentials that you have that you can assign. So in this particular case, we only have two credentials for apparently for a firewall and for a Linux server. If we click the plus icon, we have the ability to add a new account name, and this account name is really just a descriptive name to describe this. So I'm going to just say test user, password, and click add. So now we have the test user as a Windows credential available, and we can use that and assign that to a group or a computer. I'm going to delete those again. I am sure. And let's just say we wanted to assign custom credentials to this workstation here. So in addition to using the Authentication Manager, we can also click the Set Authentication button. So this sort of brings up the Authentication Manager as well. However, it does let us actually select credentials, and I'm going to illustrate that now. So we're going to say workstation admin, and the password will be the local administrator. I'm going to hit add, and we can see here that the screen checkbox is automatically added. And when we click OK, we can see that a little key symbol was added to the computer, indicating that the workstation admin has been assigned to that workstation. We can do the same thing for a group. We can also hit set authentication here and do the same thing. We can say workstation admin, get the green checkbox, and now a key is assigned to the group. And then we could go in here and remove the authentication and unassign it from the computer. You will see that when we click on the set authentication that it says Windows/SSH. So EventSentry sort of automatically knows whether to use these credentials or interpret them as a Windows or SSH logging, depending on which type of computer, of course, you're connecting to. So if EventSentry, for example, if the Heartbeat agent is accessing a Linux machine to query services, for example, well, then it will utilize those credentials for an SSH login. You may have noticed when I was in that dialog, there is a use labs checkbox. So you can, of course, do that as well if you're using labs. And then you don't have to specify a password, obviously, because the password is stored in Active Directory. A useful thing to know about credential is that the password of credentials, as it pertains to Windows credentials, is encrypted with the locally logged on user, meaning that if I uncheck this here and I use this password here will be encrypted under my user account, the one that I'm logged into right now. So if another user logs on to EventSentry, to the server, and launches the EventSentry Management Console and clicks on the Set Authentication button, they will still see those credentials, but the password will be unavailable because it's only available in my session.